Now I will demonstrate how to replicate the contents of a Mariadb server from one instance to another one here. So in order to show that, I have started a VMware Workstation here, and here I have installed two instances of Centos 9 streaming server, one here called A and one here called B, and the both Centos servers has also installed an instance of Mariadb server each. In addition, I have applied a terminal window in the both servers here in order to show how to configure those servers in order to achieve this replication procedure with the Mariadb server. So this is going to be my master server. So any change here in the database server, the Mariadb server, is going to be replicated from here to the other server here, the B server, which is going to be my slave server. So any changes here is copied and replicated here, so we have a live copy at any time of this A server to this B server here. But in order to achieve that, we have to configure the database server in the way I'm going to show you now. We will start to enter the configuration file for the Mariadb server, and that's done by pasting in this command here, and here we are going to enter the configuration file for the server, Mariadb server, and here it is. So here I have added two lines here. The first line is a binary log file taking care of the synchronization of the two servers. So here is also a position indicator showing where to copy from on each sessions of the replication procedure here. Here is an ID for this server. Each server has a unique ID, and ID for this server, the master server, is 101 here. Nothing else is necessary to insert here in the configuration file to achieve this functionality. So I'm going to write the configuration file here to disk and quit the editor like that. So now we have to update the configuration in the server. So we do that by restarting the Mariadb server like that. So now the just applied configuration lines is applied to the server. The next step is to enter the MySQL server, or Mariadb server in our case, like this. And here, if you have a look into the databases here, show databases, there are only those three databases here created in the installation procedure of the Mariadb server. Nothing else is applied yet here. So now we are going to create a user by this command here. This user, user, is granted the replication functionality for any slave for everything in the server by means of this password, which we only call password in this demonstration here. So this user is now added to the configuration here of the server now. Then we like to flush this configuration, this with the privileges to the disk here. We do that by this command here, like that. Then we can go into the other instance of the Centos server, and here you also will enter the configuration file here for the database server, So here we have all entered the file. So here we will also enter the same configuration lines here. This is the binary log file synchronizing the activity between these two servers. Here's the server ID for this server, the slave server. It's different, it's now 102, and here is some configuration line for the Mariadb server, not needed for the Mysql server if that is used. But now I have a Mariadb server, so I leave it like this. So here I escape from the editor by writing the contents to the disk and quit the editor here. So here also we have to restart the server. In order to apply the changes in the configuration file like that. Back to the master server here. So here inside this Mariadb server we like to make a starting point backup, total backup of this server here. Copy to the which we will copy to the slave server to create a starting point for the replication work. But in order to do that, we like to block any users for the server to get some writing access to the server. Only read access is applied. So that is to inhibit any inconsistency in the database when we are making this backup and replication procedure here. So in order to achieve that, we apply the command flush tables with read lock, like that. So now any user cannot write to the server, but everyone can read from it still. So that's to make sure that there are no inconsistencies in the database, which we are copying to the slave, with the database still staying here in the master here. So now we have to stay in this session here and unlock these tables when we are done with the configuration and backup routine here. So now we are going to make that backup routine, but then we have to apply another terminal window instance like this to do the backup work here and leave the session here like it is, in order to keep this locking of the database here. So now we are applying a backup command here, and we do that by pasting in this command here, Maria backup command with the backup utility to a target directory in the home directory here, where we have a folder called Mariadb backup folder. So we are using this binary backup routine here, so make sure that it's not only a logical backup but also a binary backup done in these settings here. So we apply this command here. So now the backup procedure is done for creating a starting point for the replication procedure here. So this backup is going to be copied to the slave server. We do that by the scp command with the R option to also copy the subdirects here, and the directory to be copied is in the home directory, and here we have the Mariadb database backup folder having this backup here, and that is copying to the root user for the other server. And now we have to have the IP address for the slave server, so we don't know that. So in order to achieve the IP address of the slave server, we go back to the slave server and apply the command ifconfig here. And here we see that the IP address is this one, so we are going to use that in the copy procedure here. So we are copying it to this server, which is 121.68.116.135, and we are copying it to the root folder in this server here, like that. A password is needed, like that. So now we are copying the backup to the slave server, the starting point backup. Here we are. Now back to the slave server. Here we will fetch the starting backup contents from the master server by first stopping the server, like that. So now the server stopped, and then we will delete the repository of the current database here in this slave server. Everything is deleted in the MySQL directory for the server. So now it's emptied, and then we will prepare the receive the backup, starting point backup, for copying back to this slave server by doing this command here. It's the same backup procedure as earlier, but now with the prepare option here. So now the backup is prepared, and then we will copy it to the proper directory here by the option copy back option here. So now it's copied back here. If you have a look into this directory where the database is saved now, it is in the varlib MySQL directory here. We see that the ownership of these files here is not MySQL, it's root. So you have to change that. So Mariadb MySQL is the proper owner of those files here. And that is done by applying this pasted command here, where we change the ownership for this directory to MySQL with all subdirectories here, applying this R option. So now we have changed the ownership and have a new look into the to the directory. You see that MySQL is taking the ownership of the files here, just what we want here. So now we can start the database server here. So now we have successfully started the server. The next step is to make the connection between the slave and the master server. So in order to achieve that, we have to go back to the instance of the Mariadb server here to see where the indicator, replication indicator, what that is now. So we apply the command show master status here, and then we have a report that the log file, binary log file, which is used here, is this file here, ended with 11 here, and the position for the next replication procedure is this 385. So that we need in the slave server in order to make connection to the master here. So now we enter the server, MySQL server, MariaDB server in our case. So have a look in the databases here. We see that there are the same 3 databases here also, created in the installation procedure for the database here. So in order to prepare this connection command from the slave to the master, it's easier to use an editor to prepare this command here. So this is the template for the command. There are some changes we have to make here. For example, we have to have the correct IP address for the master server. So in order to achieve that, we go back to the master server, and here in the not in the MariaDB terminal window, but in the auxiliary window, we can ask for the IP address command by the command ifconfig. And here we see that the IP address is this one here. So that's going to be used in the setup here in the editor here. So we change this IP address for the master to 192.168.116.136 in our case. So the user is correct, replicate user with the password, but the log file is not correct. So we have to have a look into that, and you see that this log file is ending with 11 here. The position is 385, so you have to use that. So 11 has to be applied here, and the position was 385. So now we have prepared the command to make the connection from the slave to the master. So we copy those lines here, go to the slave server, and here in this MariaDB interface we paste this command here, like that. We have to stop the slave first, like that, and then try and make another try. So now we have applied the command to make contact with the master. To see if that is successful done, we can apply the command show slave status with the option /\g and enter that one, and now we can see there are not any connections. That is because we haven't started the server yet, so we have to start the slave. So now we try once more to see the status now. So have a look into the status report and see that we have yes here. So now we have the connections and the replication procedure is running correctly. To confirm that, we have to make a change in the master to see if that's applied to the slave. So have a look into the databases here. In the slave we see that there are those 3 databases here, and in order to activate this terminal, we have to unlock the tables in order to be able to create some changes. Oh, sorry. Like that. So now we have disabled the locking of the server here. So now we can create another database here and see if these changes in the master is applied to the slave here. So we create a database test here. It's wrong, like that. Use this database here, test, and here we can create a table. We call it only A to do it easy, with these two columns A and B only, which can be integer to do it simple, like that. And then we can insert some values here in the database, in the table. Insert into AA with these columns A and B with the values 1 and 2 to make it simple here, like that. We could see if that is correctly applied. Yes, we are having this table here, and if you have a look into the databases in the master, show data, we see that there are an additional database here called test now. And now it's funny to see if that is applied and replicated to the slave server here. So we go into the slave server, and now we like to see the databases here, and now we see that this test database is replicated to this slave server, working nicely. And if you use this test database like that to see if there is any correct report from the AA table, we see that we have got a replication of this server from this table from the master server. So mission accomplished. So we have successfully configured those two servers to be replicated from one master to a slave. Thank you for listening.